All gates are marked by dye spots in the snow. This serves two purposes. First, it shows where to replace a pole which has been knocked away. Second, it provides a reference point for the gate judge. If he fixes his gaze on each dye spot in turn and concentrates on it as the racer's skis go by, he will not be diverted by motion or disappearance of the pole or other outside influence. He should have the mental image of a series of still snapshots, one of the dye spot of each turning pole. The poles are to guide the racer. The dye spots are to guide the gate judge. Along with the head judge, the gate judge should select a point that ensures your personal safety while affording a good vantage point to observe your assigned gates. Failure to call a fault is grossly unfair to all other competitors. If possible, yell "back" loudly enough to warn the racer that he is faulted. Benefit of the doubt goes to the racer, but if 70% sure and 30% doubt, call a fault. After having made the decision as to correct passage or fault, the next most important task is to record it unequivocally for later review by the jury. For over 20 years, the USSA has used mostly the card originally designed by and used for the Waterville Valley BBTS Ski Club in 1964. There are currently two models. One with blank spaces to write the bib numbers of every competitor, or fault-no-fault cards, and another card that records faults only. The USSA officials community currently recommends the fault-no-fault card for slalom and giant slalom, and the fault-only card for downhill and Super G. Some cards will be supplied with fancy folders or clipboards. Others will merely be a piece of cardboard held by rubber bands. In any case, a plastic or other waterproof cover should be provided, as well as some means of hanging the board around one's neck. This is to leave the hands free. Every record of fault must be backed up by a diagram showing what went wrong. But when snow, racers, and poles are all flying through the air, there's no time for the gatekeeper to be doing fancy artwork. All models of cards have spaces set aside for diagrams. Since the location of the poles and usually the observation position of the gate judge will remain unchanged throughout the run, these can and must be drawn in all 8 spaces before the race begins. Draw in at least all gates for which you are responsible, preferably also the next above and below, and number them. As shown on the card, designate blue gates with diamonds, red gates with circles, and your stance with a symbol for @. Also, before the race, fill in all front sheet data. Once the race starts and you wish to enter a fault, you merely have to draw a single line representing the racer's course among the gates. Always use a soft pencil, not a pen. You'll find that in a given set of gates, most racers who fault will do so in the same or very limited number of ways. So for each succeeding fault, you'll frequently be able to just add his bib number to a previously completed diagram. Be careful to identify the bib number correctly. Charging racer 43 with number 48's fault is inexcusable. Absolute attention is required. It will assist you and others in their important work if you communicate with the other gate judges in your vicinity. The cards will usually be collected at the end of each run. The chief gate judge will tell you how and when. If you've recorded a fault, you should not leave at the end of the race until dismissed by the chief gate judge, with the assurance that you will not be needed by the jury for a protest. In addition to accurate judging and recording of faults, the gate judge's coursework consists of replacing knocked-out poles in their die spots. The most efficient way to do this is to have a spare pole available. When a pole is knocked flying or displaced, it can be replaced immediately by the extra pole. Then the loose pole can be retrieved with less urgency, and it becomes the extra. Replace a flex pole with an undamaged flex pole of the same color. Do not replace a flex pole with a rigid or damaged pole or a pole of another color. It's important that flex poles be replaced at their original depth, with the hinge just above the snow. If it's higher, it becomes an injury hazard to the racer. If it's deeper, the shaft acts as a lever on the margin of the hole and literally pries the pole out. Each time this happens, it's a temptation to ram the pole in deeper, but that only makes it more certain it will be pried out again. Poles can often be reset by hand. More frequently, a tool such as a drill along with a gate key or gate wrench is necessary. In some snow conditions, wedges are used and provide additional stability. If the gate judges are to use these, the chief gate judge will issue instructions. As far as possible, the course should be kept smooth and free of ruts or bump formation. This usually can be partially done by side-slipping on skis, but scraping with rakes or shovels is often necessary. To sum up, the gate judge must know the rules. Be an umpire, not a spectator. Pay close attention to every racer. Keep the eyes on the die spot. Keep careful records. Replace poles promptly and accurately. Help maintain the course. And never forget, you are the most important official. This production funded in part by a grant from the Salt Lake Organizing Committee for the 2002 Olympic Winter Games in conjunction with Deer Valley Resort, Park City Mountain Resort, and Snow Basin Resort.